The concept of Cape independence refers to a political movement advocating for the Western Cape province of South Africa to secede and become an independent nation. This movement, also known as Capesit, remains firmly outside the realm of reality as the Western Cape currently functions as an integral part of South Africa. The roots of this desire for separation can be traced back to the region's unique history. Colonized by the Dutch in 1652 and later incorporated into the British Empire, the Western Cape developed a distinct cultural identity, shaped by these influences and the legacy of the indigenous African population. However, the inclusion of the Cape Colony into the Union of South Africa in 1910 marked a shift, and the subsequent decades under apartheid rule further strained relations between the Western Cape and the national government. The dismantling of apartheid in 1994 ushered in a new era of democracy, but the late 2000s saw the emergence of the Cape independence movement. Proponents, mainly represented by the Cape Independence Party founded in 2007, argue for secession based on several factors. However, the path to independence is fraught with challenges. The movement faces significant legal and constitutional hurdles, as South Africa's current legal framework does not provide a clear path for secession. Additionally, critics accuse the movement of furthering racial divisions and fueling separatist sentiments, undermining the ideals of a unified and diverse South Africa. Public opinion on the matter remains unclear due to the lack of recent comprehensive polls. While some within the Western Cape may harbor secessionist sentiments, the broader national and international communities overwhelmingly reject the idea. The South African government maintains a firm stance against Cape independence, emphasizing the importance of national unity and territorial integrity. The seeds of the current Cape independence movement were sown centuries ago. In 1652, the Dutch established a settlement at the Cape of Good Hope, a strategic location at the southern tip of Africa. This marked the beginning of European colonization in the region. In 1795, the British took control of the Cape Colony, further shaping its history and demographics. In 1910, the Cape Colony, along with other British territories, was incorporated into the newly formed Union of South Africa. The oppressive system of apartheid, implemented by the National Party in 1948, deeply affected South Africa, including the Western Cape. While the region was not as directly impacted by some aspects of apartheid as other parts of the country, resentment towards the national government's policies grew among some residents. The dismantling of apartheid in 1994 ushered in a new era of democracy for South Africa. However, the late 2000s saw the emergence of a movement advocating for the Western Cape's independence, sparking debate and raising questions about the future of this region within South Africa. Economically, proponents point to the Western Cape's perceived stronger performance compared to other provinces. According to the World Bank, the region contributes roughly 14% of South Africa's total GDP, suggesting a potentially self-sustaining economy in an independent state. Culturally, the movement emphasizes a distinct identity in the Western Cape, a blend of Dutch, British, and African influences. This cultural uniqueness, they argue, justifies self-determination and separate governance. Dissatisfaction with the national government's policies further fuels the movement. Specific examples of discontent vary, but some cite concerns over national spending priorities, perceived mismanagement, or specific legislative decisions. Despite their aspirations, the path to independence for the Western Cape is fraught with challenges. The movement emphasizes a legal and peaceful approach, potentially through a referendum. However, legal and constitutional hurdles remain significant obstacles. Additionally, the movement faces criticism, with accusations of racism and separatism often levied against its proponents. While the Cape independence movement has garnered significant attention, gauging public opinion on the issue remains a challenge. Comprehensive and recent polls specifically focused on Cape independence are scarce. However, a 2020 poll conducted by Victory Research on behalf of the Cape Independence Advocacy Group, CIAG, indicated that 53.1% of Western Cape citizens who expressed an opinion believed independence would improve their quality of life. This figure included individuals from various political parties, with 83% of Democratic Alliance voters, 30% of African National Congress voters, and 11% of Economic Freedom Fighters voters expressing similar sentiments. The South African government has consistently opposed Cape independence, citing the country's constitution and the potential negative consequences of secession. They argue that it would be detrimental to national unity, economic stability, and the rights of minority groups within the Western Cape. The political landscape surrounding Cape independence is complex. The DA, the dominant party in the Western Cape, has officially distanced itself from the movement, despite some members expressing personal support. Other opposition parties like the Good Party have shown more openness to the idea, with some members advocating for a federal system within South Africa that could address the concerns of the Cape independence movement. The future of the Cape independence movement remains uncertain. The complexities surrounding economic integration, cultural identity, and the legal landscape present significant challenges. Whether the movement gains traction or fades over time depends on various factors, including future economic performance, political developments, and potential dialogue between the movement and the South African government. Only time will tell if the Cape Town region will chart its own course or remain part of the broader South African tapestry. Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe.